Hello all, welcome to New Science Hub. Today we are in the campus of ICRISAT, which is around 25 kilometers from the Hyderabad city, a sprawling campus spread over 3,500 acres. And I have with me Dr. Jagdish, who is heading the Entomology division. Hello Dr. Jagdish.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting New Science Hub to your sprawling ICRISAT campus. Before we start talking, can you just tell our viewers what is ICRISAT standing for and what work do you do here?
So, ICRISAT is the full name is the International Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics. So, this is the international organization, non-profit organizations. So, we work for our mandate crops like dryland cereals and legumes, which suitable for the dryland crops like majorly chickpea, pigeon pea, groundnut, pearl millet, finger millet, these are the mandate crops, 6 mandate crops. These are the crops we are working here, and also ICRISAT has the sub centers in the African continent, where we have the 8 countries we have the office. So whatever the technology we work here parallelly work in the African continent, because the ICRISAT in India as well as African continents having the same climate and the regions, so most suitable for the this agriculture crops.
So is this the only center in India?
So this comes under the CGR, Consultative Group of International Agriculture Research. This is a part of the CGR, and this is the only ICRISAT is the only the center, the headquarter based at India.
Good. So what's your business model? How do you generate money? And
so ICRISAT is as mentioned in the non-profit organization. Most of the funding they used to be generated from the big donors like Melinda Gates Foundations, USAID, and even the the government of India, and most of these companies of the foundations, they used to contribute the funding, and also from the part of the project proposals we used to submit the government of India. There we used to generate the funding, and based upon this funding we do our research activities to carry out supporting to the smallholder farmers of the Asia as well as the sub-Saharan Africa.
Super. Talking of research, what made you take entomology for your PhD?
So, as in the graduation, when I graduation done in the University of Agriculture Science, Dharwad, I studied in the College of Agriculture, Raichur. So, where we have the across the different department, the entomology department has the teacher, Dr. Prabhuraj. He is insisted to me to take this entomology because he taught very well and in the detailed manner in entomology. So due to that, the most of the students have the like to entomology to carry over the career progression in the masters as well as PhD.
Dr. Jagdish, can you elaborate about your PhD work and what was the topic on and which insects you worked on?
Yes, sir. My PhD program done in the Govind Ballabh Pant Agriculture University and Technology, Pantnagar, Uttaranchal. So I have done my PhD topic on host plant resistance and protease inhibitor in the chickpea crop or for pod borer insect pest. This pod borer is a major pest for the legumes as well as most of the crops in the vegetables and horticulture crops. And I have done in the PhD basically host plant resistance to screen the different varieties to see the performance of the pod borer incidence level under the field condition as well as lab conditions. Also see the protease inhibitor. This protease inhibitor is the major the plant defense mechanism for the pest. To check the different cultivars, which are the cultivars having the most protease inhibitors, which defense mechanism for pod borer. These are the activities, and also apart from the IPM strategies, also we worked on the biologicals like Jethropa oil. Along with the conventional insecticide, how the Jethropa oil is with combination with other insecticide. So these are the IPM studies also we have studied in the PhD, and also it's in part of the insect chemical ecology. So where we studied which are the plants, the varieties having the influence for the attract to the natural enemies. Like in the pod borer we have the parasitoids Campylortis chloridae, which attract. We identified which are the varieties which attract more. If the more the attractiveness of the natural enemies means we can study that particular variety for the future studies. So these are the basics, the studies we have carried out during the PhD work program at Pantnagar.
Very nice. See, talking of insects, some of common people always have this feeling that insects are waste.
Yes, sir.
But I'm sure insects have lot of beneficial properties.
Yes, sir.
Can you first tell our viewers that insects can also be useful?
Yes, sir. Actually, most even when the childhood, we also thought that the insects are like harmful. But insect, apart from the harmful, so insect overall, I can say that insect have like more than 30 insect orders in the class Hexapoda. So in that we have the some of insect like economically losses. Those insects will majorly come from the Lepidopteran order as well as Calypteran order. Apart from, we have the some beneficial insects. So we can say that if we have like Hymenopteran order, where we can see the most of the beneficial like beehives, honeybees, and as it acts as a bee source, we are generating the bees honey, and also like in Lepidopteran we have silkworm. We can generate the silk industries are run from the like beneficial insects, the silk, and have the lac insects. The lac insects, it comes under Hemiptera, where we can most of the cosmetics and they are developed from the apart from, we also have the like scavengers. So ecosystems we will generate like scavengers like ants, cockroaches. These are all environment. It will clean the ecosystems by nature. These are the like other beneficial insects. So we can say that not only the harmful insects also the beneficial nature.
Super, that's nice. Let's talk about harmful now.
Yes.
We all know that India is a tropical country, and you can almost expect every species to be here.
Yes.
To that matter, even Africa. Now tell us the problems which Indian farmers especially face in terms of your crop destructions, and what is it that ICRISAT is doing for that?
Yeah, sir. In the area of crop protection, the harmful insects, India is facing like most of the crop produce, whatever the farmers they reduce, almost like 30 to 35% of lost by the like biotic stress, by the pests and diseases. Apart from the other source like the abiotic stress like drought and all. So abiotic stress, we are in our mandate crops, we are facing like the sorghum, we have shoot fly, and the legumes we have the pod borer and the maruca and the pod fly. These are the major pests facing the problem. Most of the farmers are facing the problem. Although they have, despite use of the most of the chemical insecticide, still not able to control, because these insecticides make same insecticide routinely develop the resistance on the pest. So in view of this, the ICRISAT, we are working on especially on our mandate crops. So developing some of the tolerant varieties or resistance varieties for the pest and diseases. So ultimately we can reduce the use of the chemical insecticide under field conditions. Farmers at least save 1 or 2 pesticide usage. So from that, the farmers ultimately benefit, the help for the cost of cultivation reduce, and also we can save the pesticide usage, and also we can recommend the farmers the alternative to chemical, the lesser like biopesticides to recommendation for the manage these pest and diseases.
Super. Talking of pesticides, we all have heard of organic food, and
Yes.
organic food is usually expensive. I mean,
Yes,
common people cannot buy it. So in order to avoid pesticides, is it necessary that everyone has to go for organic food, or is there any future plan in India saying that pesticides should be controlled at certain level?
Yeah, this is actually as current scenario, and most of in the ministry, government of India also emphasizing to the farmers like regenerative agriculture, natural farming, and the old back tradition is coming back. The indigenously our ancestors they have done on the natural farming. It is coming the way, but along with we can 100% we can't say that a natural farming. So along with like we go with integrated holistic approach, like biopesticides along with pesticides. Pesticides also we have the greener molecules. Some of the new molecules are appeared in the market, like it's having the greener molecules. It's developed from the like microbials, streptomyces and all those compounds. We have the greener molecule we can use for the managing the pests.
Okay.
So in the coming to the organic farming cultivations, India now only 2% of the total cultivable area under the organic cultivations.
Oh.
So we need to be focus on the organic area under cultivations. So as the more the organic cultivations the areas increases, then when the awareness is coming to the farming community to cultivate this area, and this it ultimately we can whatever the consumer point, we can get the reduced price. Even the most of the farmers we need to make lack of awareness on the organic certifications, those things. So those things in the future, training is also essential for the certification organic cultivations. So it will help for in the future the consumers also. It will be lesser price on the consumer point of.
Good. You spoke of communication. Is there any structured approach how ICRISAT reaches out to a common farmer, whatever you do, what development you do? Is there any way that even the farmers can benefit?
Yeah, from the most of the ICRISAT for the especially mandate crops, whatever we develop the varieties and all, which inform to the product ultimately we inform to the state agriculture universities, ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture. The technology, the varieties have been developed. They will a university, they will take to the multi-location testing and all, ultimately released by the ICAR or state agriculture universities. Farmers are benefited by using the ICRISAT products, the varieties. Like in case of sorghum, the bio-fortified sorghum high iron and zinc varieties are released and in the groundnut high oleic acid.
Yeah.
And in the pulp millet high iron and zinc. These are the cultivars, ultimately farmers that benefited from the ICRISAT. And also we have the we used to be conduct the most of the training program to the farmers level, and even the farmer villages to the how the strategies for the managing about varieties. Sure. And crop management practices of IPM. Those kind of farmers training usually we will do. Even the tribal farmers also used to become over ICRISAT to some of the small help group for the farming community. So how they can initiate in the tribal area and all.
Oh, you have the access.
Yeah, those activities we ICRISAT is doing the training to enhance the smallholder farmers and the tribal farmers.
Doctor, let's talk about pest management.
Yes, sir.
What is your take on the different pest management? Is India following the WHO guidelines or following any such guidelines? Because you understand the pest can be managed in many ways. And for the farmer, the easiest way is to use the pesticide and close it. But then it has a lot of harmful effects on the consumers.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think is the right pest management, or maybe not the right, what do you think is the different ways which farmers can manage pest?
So apart from traditionally most of the farmers currently in India now using chemical pesticides, only the 2% to 3% are as mentioned in the organic cultivations are there. So we need to make as a holistic approach, like you used to say that integrated pest management, the strategies. So in this stepwise management of any pests. So initially putting the pheromone traps to attract the adults, to monitoring, and followed by the greenery bio-pesticide we need to recommend, and followed by lesser dose of insecticide. These are the stepwise of IPM protocol. We can manage the crop pest with lesser the cost of effective cultivation. But farmers, the most of they're using it directly, they are going with insecticides. It will cause the not only the hazardous to the environment or soil, and also the cost of cultivation increases. So now the trend has been the farmers are also got awareness that actually we need to go the stepwise management. The most of the farmers now they adopting the IPM technologies like pheromone traps, bio-pesticides, and insecticides. And as a part of you mentioned the WHO guidelines, whatever we have India have the Central Insecticide Board. This is the Ministry of Agriculture. It is the part of that. Okay. Where Central Insecticide Board used to be see the based upon which are the insecticides having the toxic and morely extremely toxic. Those insecticides they are dropping based upon the scenario of the global scenario.
Okay.
So based upon that, we every 6 months they have the routinely check they according to that they will ban those insecticide.
Oh.
And we are coming with now the trend has been changed in the greener insecticides along with biopesticides.
Okay.
From the last 2-3 years, the biopesticide market also tremendously increased in the scenario of natural farming and the regenerative agriculture.
Okay.
So this is the way the farmers are managing the pest. And some of the farmers, the progressive farmers, they are using their own technologies like the neem seed kernel extract, even the ramphal extract. Those are the doing the managing the basic the home pests. The smallholder farmers, they are adopting. They are able to afford the chemical insecticide. Those farmers using the traditional way of managing this pest.
Superb. Is ICRISAT going the way of Amul, like white revolution? Do you think India will never have a scarcity of good quality crops like rice, wheat, necessary, because our population is now the highest. Even we are beating China now. We are now 1.4 billion. So do you think the work which is carried out here is good enough to ensure that no one goes to sleep without a food?
No, as per India context, we have the the most populous country in the world, and according to that, actually, Indian government of India also taking initiative on the different ways,
okay.
Like some part of holistic approach for the natural farming, and also we have the ICRISAT also working on the speed breeding or rapid gen. So most of the breeding cycle we can reduce the number of generation in a year, and develop the short duration varieties, early varieties in the pigeon pea in the crop. So due to that early development of varieties, the farmers can afford during the odd time also in the farm cultivation. So ultimately within a year he can at least 2-3 cultivations for the pigeon pea, followed by chickpea, followed by in between sorghum crop. So he can cultivate around at least 3 crops in a year. So it will help the farmers to additional produce, and also it will indirectly help for the Indian agriculture food production.
Very nice. See, doctor, we have seen as a country, most of the population has a deficiency of vitamin D. Do you think, as Prime Minister Modi actually announced that fortified rice he is going to come out with, and he is going to make it mandatory?
Yes.
And what is ICRISAT's contribution on the GM food?
GM food, actually, as per the government of initiative, we are not working on the GM crop, but as a Ministry of Agriculture, they have given the green signal on the gene editing technology. So we are ICRISAT also moving in the same direction of gene editing technology. So we have the well identified lines, the varieties. So based upon that variety, we can editing. We can do the whatever the desired plants. So that is the way. That is in the way we are moving forward to the gene editing in India as well as in ICRISAT, our mandate crops.
So going forward, you think we'll have rice which is fortified?
Yeah, but as the point of I mentioned, ICRISAT have already bred the varieties like in the sorghum, as mentioned, the Parbani Moti, Parbani Shakti, the high iron and zinc.
Okay.
It is bio-fortified. It is used for the diabetic patients.
Okay.
And the pulse millet also high iron zinc, that is bio-fortified, but it is mostly cultivated area in that variety. And the groundnut high oleic acid, so oleic acid content. These are the varieties developed by the bred by the sourced by the ICRISAT. Now it is most of the areas covered in India.
Very nice, very nice. So what has been your best contribution to ICRISAT?
So contribution from my point of view in entomology, so I am focusing only screening the host plant resistance to see the which are the varieties having the less incidence. Those especially in the mandate sorghum crop as well as chickpea and pigeon pea. In sorghum we have we identified some tolerant or resistant line for the sugarcane aphid, shoot fly, and the recent invasive pest fall armyworm. These are the bred host plant resistance, and also we are working on the wild crop wild relatives, each pigeon pea. So for to tackle the pod borer, so we are screening on those wild relatives to identify some of the wild source for the resistance. From that wild source, again we will take further to gene editing to develop the crop varieties. And coming to the management, we used to do the bio-pesticide and toxicological studies in the lab, and those areas with screening in the lab conditions to develop the IPM tool technologies. So same thing informed to the like our institute for the crop-wise management, step-wise management for the all the crop mandate crop pests.
Very nice. Maybe you can tell our viewers about species of insects which is being cultivated here.
Yeah.
Along with that, so help us.
Apart from we are working on the mandate crops, ICRISAT has a well-established insect rearing facility. It is the country's, I can say the country's best rearing facility, which maintain the insect, the crop pests around the year. So we like the especially in the lepidopteran like the pod borer and the sorghum stem borer, fall armyworm, tobacco caterpillar, and the beet armyworm. These are the insect cultures we are maintaining on artificial diet around the year. With these insect cultures, it will helpful for our routine screening for the varieties, toxicological studies, and as well as we support the most of the national partners like ICAR, state agriculture universities, and the private industries to support the insects. We support the insect culture for their toxicological studies as well as screening studies.
That was brilliant, Dr. Jagdish. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting your science. It was a pleasure talking to you and going on the campus. Thank you. I appreciate it.